Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi sisters. This is Ramti Fashion Home. If you are watching my YouTube video for the first time, kindly subscribe to my channel, like my post, and refer me to a family and friend out there. So I want to cut the trending Malaysia hijab. To cut this, you need your one trouser of lycra material, because they always make use of lycra material or jersey material. Is the same thing. Lycra material is the same thing as jersey material. You just have to select the jersey texture out of it. So that's what we want to do here. I want to teach you how to cut the hijab. The shape of the hijab is V shape, a curved V shape. So here I am measuring the middle. The middle measurement is, I didn't use 20 inches here because I want it to cover my shoulder. So the middle measurement is 23 inches. Then I curve my hand as seen. The front measurement that I use here is 30 inches. You can reduce your own and you can use exact or probably use like 26 inches. So that's my curving. For those of people that have been watching my video from the beginning, you should be able to cut this V shape part. So that's the back. The length of the back will be like 5 inches longer than the length of the front. So that's what I'm doing here now. So actually the shape has been drawn out. This is the result. That's the middle. I'm trying to confirm the middle measurements, which I use 23 inches. If you want your own to cover more, you can increase the length of the front and the back. Then you increase the length of the shoulder part, because you can't just increase the length of the shoulder and use like 26 or 27 for the back. The measurements won't be tally. So this is the body of the hijab. Now I want to cut it out. This is your Ramsey Fashion Home, teaching you how to make trending Indonesia hijab, or let me say trending Malaysia hijab. Is a ready-made hijab that they are selling from, they sent to Nigeria from Indonesia and Malaysia. But this is an opportunity for you to learn how to produce your own. So far we have the material to do so. All right, so the body is ready now. I want to notch the edge. We all know how to cut our V shape now, isn't it? Then the V shape I'm cutting here is a curved one. If you can see, is a very curved one. It's not that sharp V shape. So right now I want to cut the design. I want us to be focused here. This is where you need to concentrate more. I want to cut the front rope now. Some people say, Ramsey, is the rope so like a tape or like a normal rope? But I told them that no, this is how you will do the rope. You measure your 1 inch. Don't add anything to that 1 inch. Just a 1 inch of width. Then the length is going to be as long as possible. Depends on how you want your own design to appear. But here I cut as long as possible, a 1 inch rope. So after the cutting, I'm still working on the cutting right here. If you are new here, this is your Ramsey Fashion Home. You can check my page for different hijab tutorials and all. We are still coming to abaya class. So if there is any question that you want to ask based on all these videos and all, you can call my number or chat me up on WhatsApp. It's 07069529948. I want to confirm the measurements for you. So I use just 1 inch for the width of the rope. Then the length is as long as possible. I hope you can see it now. I am trying to cut more because I know that one can't be enough for what I want to do. Yeah, so here I am cutting another strand. That is how you also cut yours, so that you will achieve exactly what you wish to achieve. So here is it now. That's the small one that I cut. I later cut another long one. So you need to cut as many as possible rope. Even if you want someone to be more than 3 and you want the length to be more than that, is what you can do actually. So that's what I'm doing here. Right now I want to cut my cup. I've taught you how to make a padded cup. This now I've sent like 2 to 3 videos on how to make a padded cup, so I want to emphasize on that, guys. So I'm just going to give you the measurements I use, and I use normal measurements, which is 5 inches by 8 inches. I use 5 inches by 8 inches. So I'm done with the cutting of the cup. Right now what I want to cut again here is just to make sure that I want to use two steps of a cup before, but I actually remember that all this hijab comes with a single. So I now switch back to a single cup because I want exact shape or exact results. So I don't later use this cup, but if you want to use it for yours, that's the way you cut it. And if you want to use a normal padded cup, the first step only is okay, just that you add your pad. So alright guys, that's that for how to cut the cup. Let's proceed to the next chapter now. So what I will do next now is to so I want to continue what I'm cutting now. You know there is another rope at the front. There is gathers at the body of the hijab, the first gathers, then the second gathers that was gathered round the down part of the hijab. So I want to cut the body gathers now. The width that I use for the body gathers is just 3 inches for the width. Then the length is as long as possible. So you have to cut enough rope to make that. This is different from the straw rope that we firstly cut for the front design, but this one is for the gather, so I use 3 inches for this. Then I cut as many as possible rope. That's what I'm doing here. Don't forget, this is still Ramsey Fashion Home, teaching you how to make trending Indonesia hijab, or some people call it Malaysia hijab. Then I told you earlier that you need lycra material to do this, or jersey lycra material. You will find jersey material within lycra material. That's if you go to the market to get the material by yourself. You have to select the jersey texture out of the lycra material. Some people are getting it twisted, but you will get it once you get to the market at the means of those that sell lycra material. So that's the cutting of the small step that I talked about. So everything is ready now. Then I want to cut the down part. So maybe when you are buying your material, you can go for 1.5 trouser, so that you have enough material to do the gather, so that it will be very full. It will be fuller than this one. I just use this as an example for you. So you can go for 1.5 trouser if possible. So this is the rope now. I am trying to sew the stripe, the first one that we cut with just 1 inch. So you will sew it and turn it out as tiny as it is. You make sure that you turn it out gently. So this is the sewing now. This is the sewing. I'm actually trying to join the rope together. Then this is how you turn it. I hope you can see the way we are doing the turning now. So this is the result at the end of the day. Then you take your chalk. Make sure you take your chalk, then mark it in order to use it to curve how you want it to be. So make sure the hijab is still on fold, so that is folded, so that you'll be able to get the shape properly. See the way I'm marking it now. That's the first shape. Then I will measure it. That's the first shape. So I measure from down to where the shape starts is just 6 inches. So that's what I'm doing. I will cut it now. I will now use the same length to cut all the lengths. I'm using the same length to cut all the lengths. So I cut it into 6 places. So this is the rope at the end of the day, and I've showed you the way to sew it on your hijab. See how the result is going to comes out. You curve it as seen. You curve it, then measure like 3 inches for the space. So I hope you're enjoying this tutorial, and I'll be looking up to you how to make your own practical, and make sure it's as beautiful as the ready-made one. So this is how to sew the rope. I've told you that you measure 6 inches from the down part to know where your design starts. Then you can increase the measurement as well. Some people might want it to come down a little bit, so you sew it as if you want to sew it straight first. You measure like 2 inches in order to cuff your hand. Then from there you cuff your hand. Don't forget I told you that you will sew the rope and turn it out. It's not that you will tape it. You sew the rope, turn it out, and use machine to sew it down on your hijab. That is what I'm doing now. You sew it in both edges. We have the first edge and the other, and the second edge. This is the first edge. Then I want to switch to the second edge now. I want to switch to the second edge based on the sewing. So you can always message me on WhatsApp in order to ask questions if there is anything that you didn't get right. My WhatsApp line is 07069529948. I will be available to answer all your questions and more. So that's the first cuff. Then you do the second one, and make sure when you are done with your sewing, if you have a stoning machine, use your stoning machine to press it down so that it will flat and be like the ready-made exactly. Then if you don't have stoning machine, you can also use your normal iron to iron your sewing, just to bring out a perfect shape. So we are still doing the sewing now. We are working on the sewing. So that's the sewing. I want to sew the second step now. That is how. So then you do the curving as seen. That is what I'm doing now. You do the curving. This is the second step. Don't forget to follow the steps that I've explained earlier. You follow the step as seen. Then you take your tape rule to measure the length in order to cut it out the way I did. So that's the sewing of the body all together. So that's the production, and that's how you do everything. And it's getting together now. I'm doing the second stitching. I told you that you stitch it at both sides. So make sure you iron it, as I've said earlier, in order to perfect your sewing so that it will look so flat. So this is the finishing after the work. I've done the pleating, and this is the final result. Thanks for watching. This is Ramsey Fashion. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos.